Hey folks, Lindsey Huddleston again, back with another SPS mental health moment. Got my guy, Coach Johnel Davis of Sexton Big Reds representing. I want to appreciate him and former Coach Dan Bogan years ago for bringing me in to Sexton family as a budding sports psychology consultant. Was embedded with these guys all day long, from the weight room to the classroom to the film session. I even had some of my sports psychology mentors saying, "You did all that?" I said, "Yeah." And it taught me so much, man. So I want to appreciate you being such a good ambassador and welcome me in that level. And just really want to touch base with you and see what's going on. How you doing?
Man, I'm great, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on. Hey, I had a great time having you around with us all that time, man. We enjoyed having you with us through that process and through that year. It was great.
Yeah, it was. It was. So this is the time of year, man. I know you're normally ready to be outdoors, getting the guys ready. You're one of those hands-on coaches. I mean, you're out there with them. You're hustling with them. You're pushing up. We're doing the push-ups with them. What is it like not being able to go through your normal process right now?
Oh, it's real tough for me. I'm a real hands-on type guy. I love lifting weights with the guys. I love being around them. I love breaking bread with them every day. Just building those bonds and those relationships with them, I think, is very important to what I do as far as my coaching style. Just being as close as I can to the boys, but just being able to be around them. That's been the toughest part for me. They call me all the time, telling me they miss me. I miss them also. But I thank God for social media. It's given us another platform to use as far as Zoom, Let's Talk. And that's been a way that I've been able to stay with them every night, been able to talk with them on the phone before I go to bed, been able to Zoom in with them and things like that, also get them workouts and stuff. So it's been a tough time, but, I think we're all in the same circumstances. So at this time, all we can do is the best we can.
You're right. It definitely is even the playing field. I was talking to another young man, a high school student earlier today, Terry McCord, just finished up at Eastern, if you will. And, talk about how this is a huge life lesson. I remember you shared a story about being an athlete and not being able to play one season, have to sit out and just watch, but you came back so hard and ready. And that really stuck to me. What does it mean to have this happening for these young people and this being like one of their first major life lessons?
This is real serious, man. This has given me an opportunity to, make how important it is for all my young men to take every day. It's real serious. I think this is the most serious life lesson we can get with this pandemic. I think it's something that we, as coaches, as parents, husbands, wives, we've never experienced anything like this. I think it's given me an opportunity. I harp on them all the day how important life is, taking every day like it's your last day. I've lost my mother, my grandmother, a lot of close people in my family have passed away, and that started a different approach for me many years ago. And sometimes I push that onto my boys, and I don't think they quite understand. And I can understand because they're young men. They haven't been through the experiences I've been through to understand, when I'm trying to push them on those life lessons. But this moment right here has given a lot of them a chance to look back on themselves, but reevaluate their lives and dig deeper into who they are as individuals so that they take every day more serious. You got some group of young men who were really on their game, taking care of their academics, doing all the right things when the pandemic came, didn't bother them as much. But then you look at the other group of young men who, who were caught up in a lot of distractions, weren't focused like they should be on the things they should be as far as academics and working out and those type of things, getting caught up in the partying and hanging out in the streets a little bit. Well, when this thing hit them, all of a sudden they're stuck in a situation where they're calling coach saying, "What's going to happen with my life, coach?" And this is when I can look them right in the face and say, this is what coach has been talking about. This is why it's so important that we stay fixated on our futures and what we're here to do. And a lot of times, it's just a process of simply focusing on things you can control. And so many times we're distracted by all the things out in this world that's going on, whether it's social media, whether it's girls, whether it's parties, it could be drugs, many things, that I try to keep away from these young men and just get them to worry about the things they can control. And that's academics, that's working out, that's their attitudes, that's their behavior on and off the field. Those are the things that are key to them being successful. And I think Carl, he has figured that out. And that's why things have been going really well for him. And I'm just trying to get my other guys to focus on that. Ever since I've been the head coach, my main thing is building a culture of accountability. Getting these young men to be accountable for their actions, for their choices. And a lot of times these are really good young men until they make a bad choice. So I think this pandemic has given us a chance as coaches, not just myself, but many other coaches, to get young men to really focus in on how important every day we have together is. You got to attack the day, man. We all got the same 24 hours, but what are you really doing with it? That's
Right.
the question here.
That's
And I think
powerful.
the pandemic helped us.
That's powerful. So when you talk about, the two different players, the one that was kind of on point handling their business and they're going to be able to transition a little easier. Then, of course, the ones that we knew so well, that we talked about, that we had to spend that extra time with, that, we can go on and on. What did you think it's going to take for those players to dig themselves out of the hole they were in, as well as deal with life after the pandemic? How do you think it's going to be for them to get back on track and make something happen?
Well, it starts with their faith. Number one, a lot of them, they're not dreaming, but I ask them to continue to dream, continue to believe, continue to have faith that God has, something for them. There's a beautiful ending, and a lot of them give up on themselves. And me as a coach, it's my responsibility to continue to push and make them believe and have faith that there is something out there for them. But it starts with hard work, putting in some work, continue to believe, and just continue to rep those things that we have learned over the years that has got us to where we are. And if we continue to do that, I think, there's always something good that comes out of that for those young men. A lot of them avoid, doing the right thing. But when they finally clicks in them that, hey, coach has been telling me to do this, and they do it, it's a big change for them. It's
Very
a
good.
big change.
We talk about support networks being so important, and many of the successful students that we talk about, they had a strong support network. Using Carl, for example, his family was always there. You knew that they were there to push and reinforce what you were sharing as a coach. What do you say to the parents out there or the other people who are part of the extended support network for some of these players, or some players who don't really have a support network but just have different people in their lives? What advice can you give to them that can really help some of these players with what they may be going through now?
Well, this is super old school, but it's the truth. It takes a village.
Sure.
You need to get out. You need to communicate. You need to grab onto resources, things that the parents don't know. They have to find people that can help them develop their child. And a lot of times, what I see from most of our parents nowadays, sometimes we vicariously try to live our lives through our children. And that's a lot of pressure on these young athletes. A lot of pressure on them.
Come on, talk
So
about it.
so I ask a lot of parents, first and foremost, allow your child to be a child. Don't be afraid to push them, but get people that you can trust around them who are going to help build them up in the areas they need it, whether it's academically, whether it's working out, whether, he has some type of behavior or attitude situation that we're dealing with. Us coaches are really good at, because of our experiences, helping with those type of issues, because attitude can make or break you, and attitude is very contagious. And so that is one of the true things that I truly focus on with my young men.
Hey, and making them run can break that attitude too, right?
Oh, you already know that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We love that. Discipline is real key in the structure and things that we do here at Sexton. To me, it's two different types of disciplines. One is, a discipline where a young man does something wrong that causes us to have to discipline him. That's the fatherly-like approach, which I don't always like to do to young men. So I hope that they can police themselves. And then there's that discipline of just doing what we ask you to do the right way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important discipline to being a great football player. If I ask you to do a drill, just do it the right way. That's your own discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we're fighting that, but, repetition will change that.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job. Talk about recapping the season and some things you want to take away from the season and you're ready to implement when the next season starts. What's, something you can kind of look back on and say you want to implement when this next season starts?
Oh, man, that's a good question. This season, it was a tough one. I think the biggest thing for me, the beginning of the season, I had to make some tough decisions for this team to get rid of some young men that I thought wasn't leading us in the right direction.
I know that's tough.
I'll be completely honest with you there. It caused me to sleep a lot better because I was doing what I felt was right for this program, this community going forward. You don't always want to have to, put a young man off the team, but you have to do what's right for your team. Not one young man is bigger than this whole community or this whole program. So we've had to make some big adjustments there last year with just getting rid of some people. and I had like 18 sophomores, 7 juniors, and 6 seniors on that team. So we're still pretty young. But I thought we grew up under the lights. We were in some very close games last year. We ended up losing them down the stretch, but a lot of that was just due to us, being young, not physically enough, strong enough to finish, nor were we smart enough in a lot of game situations. We didn't use our IQ there. But going into this season, that is the thing that we want to get fixed there. We want our young fellas to rise up a little bit better. We want to work a lot harder than we did last year. We want to build our camaraderie a lot better. Most importantly, our leadership to be a lot better than it was last year. I don't think our senior leadership was where it should have been.
Right.
I thought my boys tried, but we didn't do as good a job as we could have in that area.
Coach, knowing your style and how tolerant you are, how you're a players type coach, it really had to be tough for you to actually remove people from the team. Can you talk a little bit about how that is sometimes the best option compared to some parents or some people thinking that no matter what a kid does, you don't remove them from the team?
Some young men can be real cancers to you. And anybody know I hate to use the word cancer. I lost my grandmother from that, so I'm not a big fan of cancer. But, anybody who knows cancer knows that if that thing gets in your team, it'll spread around real fast. When you got a young man who's just, going against the grain, doesn't want to do the things that the team asks him to do, is not willing to commit to what it takes to be a team player, you sometimes have to make a strong decision. You would hope that with that decision, it would wake the young man up, that he would, at that point, get a plan that would, at some point, get him back on the team. And we would do that through a vote of the whole entire team after he's done the things that we've asked him to do. We would, bring him in front of the team, and we'd have the league council, vote him back on if we, feel he's made the right choices. And if
now his peers are getting involved in it. It's not just
yes, sir.
You as a coach.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. It's not just a coach. It's a complete program. It'll be coaches and team who will make that decision to bring him back. At that time, he will, address the whole entire team, and he will, at that time, either apologize for his actions and let us know at that time that that is not something he will be doing going forward. If he's going to be involved with this program anymore. I mean, that's just things we have to do. I'm not about allowing people to be around here that don't have this program and in its heart and at its best interest. It's very important for me.
Coach, if I can ask on that, just stay on that for a second. That seems like probably one of the first times a young person like that in that situation is being held accountable, especially when you talk about his peer group, the coaches, because my thought is so many times these guys are able to kind of do their thing all the time, and no one is holding them accountable until you get to a bad situation where it's something outside of sports, it's the police, it's some serious discipline. But what kind of culture do you have to be able to have players and coaches take a vote, compared to some programs who just don't really have that kind of culture where they can just have somebody's parent call a school, call an AD, and not a player is still a part of the team or something like that?
Culture of family. I mean, we treat this thing just like family. You know what I mean? You're not going to steal from your family. I know in family sometimes things go bad, things go wrong, but we should be able to talk things through. When I come to a player and I address him about something he's done wrong in this program, and if we ain't able to talk it through or get to a better understanding when the conversation's over, then I have to make a choice for this program and for the players around me. And I will do that, with a strong notion that I'll remove you if you're not willing to do what it takes for everybody around us. I mean, this is what the family has to have.
You hit mute, Coach. There you go. You're good.
It's about all of us, having the proper attitude for each other. It's about us all. It's just buying in. Everybody buying in to us being a family. And that's the most important part for us.
But still, I'm with you. I feel it. But it seems that coaches in different programs don't feel confident enough to take that stand. When it's those outside influences, the boosters, some outside influence or somebody who's not there day in, day out, being able to say, this is what you need to do. I mean, you feel what I'm saying when you have programs?
Yeah, I totally feel you. I hate to speak on what other coaches are thinking in that aspect. And sometimes we put a lot of sauce on winning, man. We'll put winning over what we think is right. And, I love to win. Don't question me there.
I know you
but
love
I,
to win. I know
but I,
you love to win.
but I love to do what's right more than anything. And I know that if I continue to do what's right for this program, the winning will come. You know, it's been a tough 2 seasons for me. You know, a lot of people look at me and question my win-loss record. But what they'll never be able to question is my work ethic. They'll never be able to question my passion, my love for this game, my love for this community, my love for these young men, and my love for this program. So with that in mind, I'm always going to try to do what's right. You know, I'm always going to try to lead in the right direction. If that causes me to lose for a little while, so be it. But I tell you what, we're going to do things the right way here at Sexton. And when that's all said and done, we'll be winning. Trust
I
me
like
there.
that. Coach, as we get ready to wrap up, what things can you say to your players, to the Sexton Big Red family, to the community at all, just to be a word of inspiration as we deal with this COVID-19 pandemic and get ready to get back to some form of normalcy, whatever that may be in the future? What can you share to everybody?
Please keep your faith. Please let the man above lead you. He's gotten us this far. He ain't going to leave us now.
Wow.
Stay focused on the things you can control. Don't worry about things you can't control. You know, every day you wake up, take the proper approach to life, have a great attitude, believe that great things are going to happen for you because they will. Remember, what you speak into existence normally what happens. Stay away from negativity. Stay away from bad energy. Stay away from drama. You know, just continue to stay positive. Just continue to show love. Continue to be there for those who need you. And that's the main thing I take out of every day I wake up. I just want to, you know, wake up and be a better person than I was yesterday. And I hope that when we get out of this pandemic, that everybody sitting at home has took some time to reevaluate themselves, to look deep inside themselves, to learn how to fight what I consider is that inside enemy. You know, we look at that word enemy. It's in me. And sometimes it takes a person to cut themselves open and do some self-surgery and reevaluate themselves to really see where they want to go. And I hope that during this tough time, we've took some time to reevaluate the things inside of us and then reevaluate the things around us so that we can give out a better person than we was when we came into this pandemic. You know, I'm praying that we can all do that and be better people than we were from the beginning.
Coach, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you just getting back on a Zoom call. I was just reminded of your energy and how you always got a positive outlook. And I know that the Sexton community is better served with you as a leader going forward, head coach of Sexton Big Red. So with that, we're going to wrap up, man. I just appreciate what you're doing. I want to continue to support you in the program, and I'm sure this message is going to have a positive impact on people going forward.
Man, thank you for having me on, Big Dog. You already know, man, much love out there, Big Dog. Continue to be safe, practice your social distancing. And I hate that we had to see each other like this, man, but it's all good, my brother. You still looking good out there, Big Dog.
I appreciate
Take care,
you.
brother.
You too. And we're going to get
God
together,
bless you.
okay? All right.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
talk to you soon. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.